When you're looking at a portable projector screen, the biggest question is always the same: will this thing actually work in my backyard, on my balcony, or even in my living room without turning the whole setup into a circus act? I've spent the last few weeks testing a handful of outdoor-ready screens, reading through user comments, and trying to sort out which specifications really matter versus which ones are just marketing fluff. The goal here is to give you a grounded sense of whether the Elite Screens Yard Master Plus lives up to its promise, and if it's worth the price tag for the kind of movie nights you have in mind. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First thing I noticed when I pulled the Yard Master Plus out of the box was its size claim, a 180-inch diagonal screen. That's a lot of visual real estate, especially when you're working with a 16:9 aspect ratio that matches pretty much every HD TV and 4K content out there. The screen material itself is CineWhite UHD-B with a 1.3 gain, which means it's supposed to reflect a bit more light than a standard matte white surface. In practical terms, that extra gain helps you keep a bright, punchy image when you're dealing with the ambient light that inevitably leaks into an outdoor setting, say, streetlights, a dim porch lamp, or the occasional car passing by. I set it up a few evenings in my suburban backyard, right after sunset, and the picture stayed vivid without needing to crank the projector's brightness to its max. What matters most for this kind of gear is how easy it is to get from a flat-packed box to a tensioned, perfectly flat projection surface. The Yard Master Plus uses a snap button frame that clicks together quickly, and the legs are detachable, so you can adjust the height without needing any tools. I was able to assemble the whole thing in under 10 minutes, and the whole frame felt solid despite being lightweight. The frame's collapsible nature makes it genuinely portable. You can fold it down, toss it into the trunk, and haul it to a friend's house for a weekend movie marathon. The trade-off, though, is that the lighter frame can wobble a bit if you don't set it on a stable surface. On a concrete patio it was rock solid, but on a wooden deck with slight flex, the corners would shift a millimeter or two after a few minutes. That's not a deal-breaker for most people, but it's something to keep in mind if you plan to use the screen on uneven ground. Now, let's talk about the real-world use cases that matter. If you're a casual backyard movie fan, the Yard Master Plus offers a decent middle ground between a cheap DIY sheet and a high-end motorized screen. You can pull it out for a weekly family film night, pair it with a 4K projector, and actually get a large image that feels cinematic. The 1.3 gain material does a respectable job of throwing away any washed-out look that a pure white screen might suffer from when there's a little ambient lighting. I tried it with both 1080p and 4K sources, and the image stayed sharp. The screen didn't add any unwanted grain or hot spotting, which can happen with glossy surfaces. If you're a more serious home theater enthusiast with a dedicated projector room, the Yard Master Plus may not be the final piece of your puzzle. The screen is designed for front projection in flexible spaces, not for a permanent wall-mounted installation where you'd expect a perfectly flat, tensioned surface with absolute dimensional accuracy. The snap button frame, while convenient, can never quite replace the rigidity of a fixed-mount steel frame. Also, the 180-inch diagonal translates to about an 80-inch width at 16:9, which is huge for a backyard but might feel a bit small if you have a very large outdoor screen area and want to fill the entire wall. One of the strengths that often goes unnoticed is the warranty and the company's support footprint. Elite Screens is a US-based manufacturer that backs this screen with a 2-year warranty, and they also honor a 3-year ENRG manufacturer's warranty. In my experience, getting a quick response from their support team is a plus. They're fairly responsive when you email about a missing part or a tensioning issue. That kind of after-sales coverage can be worth a few dollars, especially when you're spending upwards of $300 on a screen that's supposed to survive weather exposure. Speaking of weather, the Yard Master Plus is marketed as outdoor-indoor, but the frame and material are not weatherproof. You can leave it out for a night or two, but prolonged exposure to rain or high humidity can degrade the CineWhite surface over time. If you live in a region with frequent rain, you'll need a protective cover or you'll want to store it in a garage after each use. The frame's aluminum construction will resist rust, but the fabric itself will eventually need replacement if you're not careful. Who should buy this screen? I'd say it's